Hello. Hello, friends. Hello, comrades. Hello, brothers and sisters. It is a lovely winter evening here in my humble home in rural North Carolina. Um, been doing all right. Been trying to work, get by, pay the mortgage like I always do. Had some issue with some deer. My wife's kind of pissed at me. I've been getting up real early in the morning on the way to work. There's always herds of deer. I seem to live next to I live next to a river and a wooded area. Deer's have kind of been like corralled in here away from civilization, away from the main highways. They're kind of in my area. I got to go to work every day, anywhere from 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Been blessed. I get to go in at like 5 a.m. This week it's almost feels like a vacation compared to 3 a.m. Been killing some mad deer. And I've been taking the little car. We got two cars as a family. I got this old 2001 pickup beat up thing that I done beat up, ain't gonna fix as long as it's running. And then my wife's little Corolla. It's better on gas. I drive about 30 miles down the road as of right now. And I have completely taken off the front plastic fender. The bumper's still there, it's still working, but she's kind of pissed at me, wants me to take the truck. I was thinking about, well, I like that little car, it's better on fuel. I was just going to stick a little, I was thinking about, one of them big semis, you put a lot of people, they hit deer all the time, they just want to keep going, and they put a big old deer guard on the front of their mess, and and they just hit the deer and keep going. I was thinking about rigging up a deer guard on that little tiny Econo car, using that to get to work. That would probably look crazy, but y'all see this Mad Max shit going on anyway. Well, I shout out to David Fox. Hey, comrade. Hey, David Fox. It's great to have you with us. A lot of respect. If you are not subscribed to David Fox, please go and subscribe to David Fox. Union organizer, uses the struggle for workers' power as a school for the revolution. And that's exactly what the old school communists did in the 30s and 40s. That's exactly what we need to bring back. Leftist populist communism. That's exactly what David Fox represents. I'm absolutely honored to do my show with him every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on here. I'm going live via my personal Facebook profile and via my YouTube. That reminds me, let me go ahead and put my comments on my YouTube. Let me go ahead and make my YouTube video public so I can see my comments in the main stream here. Shout out to I cannot pronounce your name. Etatist. All right, Etatist. Good evening, comrades. Yes, and always address each other. It's not just to me. Always address each other in the chat and form community around each other. I'm just one person. We're a collective here. We talk not just directly to me, but we talk directly to each other. Let me go ahead and get that public. Boom, that's public. So if there's any Facebook comments are going to come up quickly as well. Boom. So I got that out there. Sorry about that. A little bit technical difficulties. Everything's going on. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I got a few announcements. First up, I already did my shout out to David Fox. We are going to be going live 8 p.m. Working Class Revolt. Working Class Revolt is the format of a nuts and bolts communist work meeting. And that happens 8 p.m. We go through a labor update. We go through a news update. And sometimes we have a co-host with short interview. And we go into a workshop on how to talk to fellow workers, liberal, right wing, what have you, how to talk to working folks. Workshop at the end of that. Working Class Revolt. I love doing that project, but good comrade David Fox. And this week we are going to be co-hosting this Saturday, 8 p.m. We are going to have guest co-host Miss Comrade Mansfield. Comrades Mansfield recently hosted the a CPI, Center for Political Innovation conference. He was the one. He was the chair in the cowboy hat. I've interviewed him before about his work with the TikTok. He's a youth comrade. I don't think I think he's probably under 18, and he knows how to drive a full harvester and rocks a cowboy hat on communist forums. So we're looking forward to that. Rural Midwestern comrade, very young guy, Mr. Comrade Mansfield. And we're having him on live from here at 8 p.m. That should be interesting. We're going to talk to him. Kind of goes along with the theme of today's show. Rural workers are not the enemy. And I know there's a lot of chaos going on, and the media got people riled up. And I'm going to tell you, keep calm and spread ideology and talk to the working class, and don't let them divide the working class. Spread revolutionary ideology. Workers unite and fight. Rural and urban, black and white, unite for socialism and a better future. Actually, a quick announcement. One of my friends that I interviewed, friends and comrades, I interviewed Dara Waistline Mitchell while back. One of my first interviews. I recommend that. Dara Waistline Mitchell was a was part of the Dodge Revolutionary Union movement, I think in the early 70s. And that was a very historic struggle. Good comrade. He's going to be doing an interview tomorrow at 5 o'clock on the Radical Books and Politics YouTube channel. And I'm looking forward to that, and I hope folks check that out. I'm going to be sharing that out as soon as it goes live tomorrow around 5 p.m. And hopefully folks can get over on the YouTube channel for Radical Books and Politics. Watch Dara Waistline Mitchell. They can also go back and see that interview that I did with him as well. Alrighty. So I'll get in the day's topic. Well, first, before I get in the day's topic, I just wanna give a shout out to all the folks in the comments. There's Dara Waistline Mitchell. Thanks for the plug. Love you, brother. And we also got a fellow communist YouTuber on here, Ewoks Unhinged. Great channel. Go check out Ewoks Unhinged if you haven't. It's a great program with good stuff. Let me see, really big on promoting solidarity for workers, and there's a huge elitism amongst the synthetic left against rural workers. Ain't that the truth? Okay. Gonna go back. All my friends, we got folks from Brazil. If you want to get in the comments and say where you're from, say a little bit that's what's going on. We can address some of this stuff. A similar stream on the topic this month earlier. Would love to have you on the stream. My email, Ewoks Unhinged, my email is workingclassrevolt@gmail.com. Hit me up on workingclassrevolt@gmail.com. Also, you can message me on Twitter at DustJames. I think it's at DustJames90. I'm not sure, but I'm on Twitter. I also have my Facebook page, Dust James Anti-imperialist America. You can message me in any of those formats, and I'll get back to you, and I'd love to do a show with you. Stevens Silas, fellow North Carolinian comrade Darian Hale. All righty. Comrade, I got this, Comrade Reese. If anyone missed the great show, the great Working Class Revolt, Comrade Reese, Also a great YouTuber. People, please subscribe to Comrade Reese and go back and watch that. Um, Go back and watch that Working Class Revolt episode and watch some of his videos. Working people united will be a great strength for proletarian revolution. Divide and rule, it's taken advantage by the bourgeoisie. So you're right. Okay, right on, man. And then let's keep going. Alrighty. All right, we got some more North Carolinians. High Point representing. Cool. Alrighty, so I'm going to go right into the main topic here. Lucas T. Marshall, rural upstate New York. We might have him on for an interview soon. Still trying to arrange that. Right on. All right, so we're going to get into it. Everybody's looking at this situation going on in D.C., so I'll just go over it a little bit. Today, they're officially recognizing the vote in D.C. Trump has continued against obvious. I mean, the election has been obviously won by Biden. It is out there. It is obvious. People came out. The election was a referendum on Trump, for or against Trump. Honestly, everything being about Trump really falls into the hands of the bourgeoisie, because if you're really scared against Trump, you're just going to run behind the Democrats. And if you really like Trump, because you see him, because you're dissatisfied with society, and you see Trump as anti-establishment, and you believe his lies, then you back Trump. And it just keeps working folks divide against each other. And it is, so I mean, that's basically the point of the show today. I'm going to go right into it. This is the results of the election. And the Democrat Republican divide largely is the rural-urban divide. And you also have portions of the issue of the national question mixed in here. If you look at this line right here in the Southeast, that's the Black Belt South that voted blue. There's also a stream of cities around there. And then if you look down in the Southwest, a lot of the border counties up into Native country up here, Chicano Nation, also voted Democrat. And then you got this landmass that's not nearly as populated of rural America that largely votes for the Republicans. And it's not really a deep political issue. People don't really analyze this. It's just the culture. Their parents vote for them. Their dad votes for them. The people they go to the church vote for Republican. They vote for Republican. And that's a lot of how it is. Now, both the Democrats and the Republicans are imperialist, including Trump. He's obviously, I would call him controlled opposition. And I maintain that the main enemy is not these fascist goon squads that Trump has. I mean, they're dangerous. Man, if you're a person of color, I think you should defend yourself. You're a working class person. If you're a trans person, LGBTQ person, these people are dangerous. Defend yourself. These right-wing reactionaries and hate squads that Trump is conjuring up are dangerous, and you should defend against them. But they're weak in comparison to the main enemy, which is imperialism. Imperialism is the main enemy. It's the most dangerous enemy. I always went back. There was back when "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" was being repealed. I had a good comrade who, we weren't happy. A lot of the folks in the LGBT community were happy that they repealed "Don't Ask, Don't Tell." And myself, a strong anti-imperialist, and others who take an anti-imperialist position, We weren't happy that we weren't really happy about them repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell, because Don't Ask, Don't Tell strengthens the U.S. military. And there was a good saying that he went with. It goes, well, you like that they're letting LGBTQ folks in the military. All right, would it be progress if the KKK allowed LGBTQ folks to join? They're like, no, that's, and then people would be like, no, that's not the same thing. No way, that's the same thing. And then my response to that would be, well, the KKK couldn't kill as many people as the U.S. military if they tried. And that's my main point here, is what the establishment represents, the power of the establishment, the police state, the military, the imperialist system, the unjust trade laws, the main contradiction and of imperialism. And now a lot of Maoists will frame the imperialism as strictly the contradiction between oppressed nations and oppressor nations. And I think that definition I might agree that is the main point today, especially with the super monopolization. But I would argue that imperialism also is, because imperialism is monopoly capitalism, it is also the contradiction between worker and capitalist, specifically worker and monopoly capitalist. The contradiction in imperialism, the capital with capitalism. Well, the contradictions are oppressor nation, oppressed nations. Amongst the imperialists, which is almost negligible at this point. They formed an imperialist bloc. We can get into that later. But what we live in today, the global political economic system, is imperialism, monopoly capitalism. That's the system. Within that, you have the worker and capitalist contradiction. You have the oppressor nation and oppressed nation contradictions. And back in World War II, when we had the fascists, we had to unite with the liberals against the fascists. That is not what's going on. Fascists are not in power. Trump, although is very fascistic in many ways, I do not consider him a full-blown fascist. He's more of a libertarian, fake, weak, pompous, out for himself manipulator and demagogue. I don't think Trump is a fascist. If Trump was a fascist, we should unite with the Democrats against him, but that's not the case. And these goons, like I said, the racist reactionaries, a lot of the people taking over the Capitol right now, they are not the main danger. They are not creating the most harm. They are not the most exploitative force. The most exploitative force currently is the imperialist system, Democrats and Republicans alike. And the Democrats, Biden, are arguably the more effective imperialist. They're the more effective imperialists. So when you make everything about Trump, it just goes to divide rural and urban workers. Now, what was it? So let's look back at the last election. Biden won. I think it was close by a few million votes, about 70 million people on both sides of that divide. I can look it up right quick. Please get in the comments, ask questions, talk to each other. So it was 81 million for Joe Biden, 74 million for Donald Trump. 51.4% of the vote, 46.9% of the vote. Okay. So even though if you look at this land, I mean, land should not vote. We should get rid of the electoral college. That's gerrymanders. Some of the only things that are keeping Republicans in power, to be honest with you. But when you make it about, if you look at this map, you see the rural areas voted for Trump, and the city areas and some of the areas when the historic oppressed nations voted for Democrat. And this is the divide and conquer. Both Democrats and Republicans are support the imperialist class. Right? And then Trump, firmly an imperialist, comes off like he's some kind of non-establishment figure, still in the imperialist camp. But Trump, interesting, Trump is often attacked by the Democrats from the right. I mean, if you look back to the impeachment was for Trump funding the Nazis and in the Ukraine, which Obama put in the power. Yes, Obama put Nazis in the power in the Ukraine, and then Trump was impeached for not funding them quick enough. I mean, and then we're supposed to vote Biden to defeat fascism. I go in that. That's ridiculous. But when it's all about Trump, and you heighten this, all you're doing is heightening the rural-urban divide and dividing rural workers from urban workers. Now, of those 64, I always say no respect for the sheepdogs, the imperialists, the politicians, all the capitalists, no respect for them. They're war criminals. They exploit our labor. Fuck them. I got to cut back on cussing. My wife said cut back on cussing. I've been looking back into my shows. I get really angry, but I got to reach as many people as possible. Maybe I'll cuss on shows and not on others, depending on a feeling. Got to find my balance here. But essentially, what I'm trying to tell people, folks, those 74 million people that voted for Trump, majority workers, are not the enemy. I mean, a lot of them are racist, and a lot of them, or at the very least, they're okay with racism or ignorant of racism, but they're not the main enemy. The main enemy is the imperialist system. And workers have a material interest in supporting the fight for workers' power and socialism. That's how it is. So the way they got people trained to think about their, and I know a lot of the main Trump supporters, I'm not talking about the KKK and those right-wing reactionary motherfuckers. Those people are definitely enemies of the working class. Those hateful, bigoted enemies, KKK, Proud Boys, a lot of those people leading that struggle for Trump right now in D.C. are outright horrible. But the average Trump voter that just votes in accordance to their community, the people around them, they're not your enemy. They're not your enemy. And just like, the people, and they like to divide and conquer. They like Trump is very divisive. He tries to convince rural workers that, and the Republicans try to do, the right wing tries to convince rural workers that urban workers are a bunch of people on welfare that hate America, that want to destroy everything and are dishonest and live on welfare. And that's a complete and utter lie. That's what they tell rural workers about urban workers. And they tell urban workers that rural workers are a bunch of all racist, redneck, hick, ignorant, racist, dumbasses. That's the stereotypes, and that's what they tell people. So when you got these heightened conditions, we got all these fascist and DC. And I think there's a lot of fascists in DC organizing, definitely. But I think there was a lot of people who are just angry and don't know where to turn. I mean, their jobs are down. I mean, this is the people that back Trump. A lot of people back Trump because they considered him anti-establishment. They think, oh, he's going to fight the swamp. He's against it. I've talked with these guys. I drank with these guys in the bar. I'm a truck driver. I talk with these folks in the warehouse. These folks are my neighbors. I mean, like the other day, my wife, we first signed up for Amazon. I know we're not supposed to because you're supposed to not do that, but it's the cheapest damn shit around, and we're a working family trying to get by, and 50% of the stuff's on Amazon. Anyways, going on to it. So going on to it. I live in a rural area. I'm a communist. My wife is from Mexico. My wife is Mexican. And we get nothing but respect from our neighbors. And most of my neighbors are Trump supporters. And one time my wife was ordering something off Amazon. She put the wrong address. We just moved in the house. She couldn't figure out the address. And so it went over to my neighbor's house. And we put our names on the mailbox, Nettleton family on the mailbox. Yeah, that's my name. I try not to say it too much. Right wing try to go against me. But it's obvious. I mean, there's some posts on Facebook. I go by Dust James. I think that sounds cooler for YouTube. But anyways, we had a Trump supporting rural worker come up to us and give our mail back to us. I mean, they could have easily pocketed these items that we bought. They came to us. They gave the mail up to us. And then, and I remember one time I was back in high school. I had this little car, and my ex-girlfriend, who also wasn't white, and we were in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, and we run the car off the road. Or we're trying to make a 3-point turn, dark, and we got this little tiny Nissan car, and I get one wheel off the road, damn thing won't move. And it's like, God damn, we're stuck in this rural area. We're scared. It's the middle of the night, and this big old pickup truck with them high beam lights comes out too. We're shaking like, oh my God, these folks are gonna kill us. And these two guys, what people associate as redneck, got out, lifted up the weight off the ditch, front wheel drive car, put more weight on the front of the vehicle, and got us out of the ditch. There was a snowstorm back, I don't remember, there was a huge snowstorm down Pennsylvania, in Pennsylvania a few years back. And they had, I think, one side of they had traffic shut down for hours and hours and hours. Working folks. It was. I learned about this from an NPR dude, and they were stuck there for hours and hours. No food, no water, and they're stuck on the sideway. Eventually, they get one lane of traffic going, but the other side of traffic's not going. Traffic shut down. And there was these, and this is around Appalachia. And redneck folks, probably people who voted for Trump, got on their four-wheelers. And they went out and gave bottles of water, and they gave food to the working folks and the people stuck in the traffic. Redneck folks, rural workers, people that vote for Trump are average people, working folks like anybody else with kind hearts. And I mean, America's racist. I mean, a lot of Most people, most oppressed folks are racist against themselves. That's how bad this media is, and how fucked up and racist the media is. Everything about this system is racist. What I'm trying to say is, the main contradiction is between workers and capitalists, not between rural folks and urban folks. We shouldn't. My message to rural folks who are down, um, they didn't get the $2,000. Nobody got the damn $2,000. I mean, working people are hurting in general. People are going to be evicted. People looking towards evicted. People can't afford food. People are going to food banks. People are upset. People don't know where to turn. And you got two main political parties. You got the conservative and you got the Republicans, rural area, supported by people, culturally supported by people in rural areas, on social issues, social conservative issues. And then you got, the Democrats. So people turn to this paradigm between Democrats and Republicans. So you get people so angry, they're going to go and, the election was stolen from Trump, and they're going to go out and they're going to be against Trump. I mean, they're going to defend Trump. And I mean, people don't trust the media and the system in the election to begin with. I mean, it's been a sham from the beginning. So, I mean, some of this stuff is understandable. What I'm seeing is this is a divide and conquer scheme between rural and urban America. And there's also something to say about oppressed nations. But I mean, you guys can see where I'm getting at this. I'm going to go ahead and hide this, and maybe I'll address some of these comments here. Ooh, going back up. Lively chat tonight. Lively chat. Got 21 of y'all folks out there. Please share this out. Share this out on Twitter. Share this everywhere. Lynn Hart, sup, John Brown. We gotta coop ourselves sometimes, I don't really know what that means. Lynn Diehard. Yes, Ewoks Unhinged. It made everybody focus on Trump instead of the system. If you make it about Trump, like the RCP is doing, calling him a fascist, saying he has to get out now, saying these reactionary violent squads, KKK, make it about the KKK, make it about these weak fascist independent groups that are rallied up by Trump, which are not as powerful or as oppressive as the imperialist system, the capitalist system itself. Now, if these fascist forces actually had a chance to come into power, yes, we should stop them. But I mean, Trump is not a fan. He riles them up. He gets support from them, but he's not them. He goes along. He's just out for himself. He's a politician out for himself. I mean, if Trump was a fascist with this COVID thing, he could have easily taken power, but he didn't. He didn't take power. He pushed power down to the states, and which was interesting. And then the states, because the federal government didn't do anything with the bailout, the federal government, including these fucking AOC squad motherfuckers, imperialist sheepdogs, voted for the CARES Act, which was one of the biggest transfers of wealth from the working and middle class small business up to the rich. And they shut down small business. So because no money was given to bail out the people, the Democratic governors were forced to shut down the economy without the power to actually give people work. So Trump was able to blame the economic collapse, which was not purely because of COVID. The economic collapse was because of overproduction. It was the big Trump and his tax bubbles and the way he was running economy was the economy was about to crash. He basically just made a bubble. It looked real good, but it was about to burst. And he was able to blame this, his failure, right-wing trickle-down economics. Trump was able to blame this right-wing trickle-down economic failed economic fallacy, which led to the collapse of the economy because of overproduction on COVID, which people made it was a hoax, said it was a hoax. I mean, it's obviously not a hoax, but the federal government is responding in a way that fucks the middle class, fucks the business people, fucks working people. So if you're in a rural, isolated area, you could see why people would, if they don't know anybody who has it, the economic conditions are affecting their lives, and it's being seen as a negative against a politician they support. You can see why some people would see it as a hoax, even though it's not. This is part of the divide and conquer between rural America and urban America. So it was able to put the economic fall onto at least his support group, onto the fault of the Democratic governors, who were forced to shut down their state for health reasons. And I think it was the right thing. I think it was the right thing of the Democratic, all the power of the Democratic governors had to do to save lives. They had to shut down their state. I mean, they destroyed the economy. But I think they had to do it. I think they did have to do it to save lives. I mean, it's poor and working. It's poor black and brown folks that are dying in this COVID. But in all reality, if we had a government action that fought for the people, we would not have bailed out the rich. We would have shut down the economy, kept all the small businesses alive, and gave working class people their wage or better, and immediately implement socialized medicine or Medicare for all. That was the correct response. But see, you see this this weird rural-urban divide, Democrat-Republican false opposition is able to put blame here, and it continues to benefit the bourgeoisie, the imperialists, and the capitalist class. E-status. Fear is an effective method to make workers seek protection from the ruling class and undermining class consciousness. Exactly. And I think there's a lot to be said for what's going on in D.C. You see, if this was Black Lives Matter, if you look at the way they treated Black Lives Matter, they would have been shot and killed Black Lives Matter folks. They would never let them took over the Capitol. I mean, there's straight up racism there to begin with. But it almost seems like this Trump opposition, this Trump fascist goon squads, has become the perfect enemy for these imperialist Joe Biden motherfuckers. And you got communists out here saying we should vote Biden and bullshit like that. And this is a reason why, you can't have socialized medicine, you can't have any of these actual progressive things, popular policies, because we need to unite with the corporate Democrats to stop the fascists. It works out very, very convenient. And now that you got this right-wing group that took over the Capitol, I mean, they didn't take power, they just took the building. It almost seems it works out very, very good for the corporate Democrats. It gets people activated and support the Democrats. And in purple and rural areas, it's like, the government went against me. You got to continue to support Trump. So it's like support Trump, support the Democrats. There's no talk about class solidarity. There's no talk about who the real enemy is, the imperialists, the monopoly capitalists, and the government they control. This is superstructure, super base and superstructure. The base is the real economic position, the real economic conditions, the power structures. The government is only a reflection of the power structures. The base allows the superstructure to exist. And there is no real superstructure change without a base change. And this is why I do not support the sheepdog, so-called justice Dems, the fraud squad. I don't support them. This is why I do not pick sides in the presidential elections between both their horrible candidates. I support the working class. And I think the key to getting out of the crisis is to spread unity amongst the working class, to spread revolutionary communist socialist ideology to the working class. Stop focusing on all the hot button issues of the liberals. Communism is not MSNBC times 10. It is uniting the working class against the capitalists. This means uniting urban and rural workers. We work on the line beside each other. We work on the line beside each other. We're getting the same damn pay. I work as a truck driver, and truck drivers are trade. African Americans are overrepresented in trucking because trucking is a hard job. I'm not, if you're a truck driver, you should not be hating. You see African American fellow drivers working right beside you. That is your brother. That is your class ally. And vice versa. These truck drivers, I mean, some of them are outright fucking racist and fucked up. Fuck them. But I mean, the vast majority of folks are not that. They're working folks trying to get by. They're scared. They vote for whatever party, is around them. And their parents voted for whatever church they're going to. Working people need to come together. Working people, rural, urban, black and white, unite and fight, destroy capitalism. And don't believe in this bourgeois, sheepdog, imperialist bullshit, social dem. The social democracies in Europe are help funded by imperialism. And those social programs are running with the blood of imperialist dollars. The only real solution is a united working class in solidarity with the global South and the anti-imperialist bloc. One of the first political organizations I was with was Labor Against the War. And that's basically what this show is, Anti-imperialist America. And the show I do with Comrade David Fox, Working Class Revolts, has a very strong anti-imperialist framework. I'm a working class anti-imperialist. I promote working class unity, working class power, and working class anti-imperialism. This means never uniting with the Democrats against the Republicans. All right. The Falcon General. Biden got 81 million votes. That's good. Comrade Reese, you're correct. Today, we should really be on the defensive side against the fascists. Only when we are strong enough can we think about going on the offensive. Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe that was earlier. I think we do need these fascist goon squads that Trump is going up are a real problem. And I recommend John Brown gun clubs. I'm not associated with that. I don't associate myself with that because I'm a public YouTube figure. But if people want to come together and arm self-defense to protect LGBTQ folks, to protect our oppressed nation brothers and sisters against these people, I think you should go ahead and do it. And I agree with that. But I don't think we should be united with the imperialists, the effective imperialists in Biden, to go against Trump. I don't think we should be doing that. I think they're the stronger section of a more pressing enemy. I mean, the majority, okay, a majority of workers and people of oppressed nations, we don't, most of us are not worried about being killed by, I think our people from oppressed nations deal with it more. But we're more likely to be killed by the police state than these right-wing groups. We're more likely to be exploited for our wages. And then if you get into the larger global anti-imperialist thing, I mean, they're killing people. There's a genocide going on in Yemen right now, and the people are heroically standing up to fight against the Saudis and the CIA-backed groups and the terrorists. I mean, that's a real death battle right now. People say, why are you an anti-imperialist? And they're like, that's not a real war. Like, yes, it is a real war. People are starving in Venezuela because of the imperialist system. People are being droned to death in Afghanistan and Iraq because of this imperialist system. There is mass starvation and genocide going on in Yemen because of the imperialist system. My friends and neighbors, undocumented folks, are dying in the desert trying to get here because of coups from Obama. I mean, that is the pressing issue. I do not think these fascist goon squads are the main issue. They're an enemy, but they're not the main issue. They're not the main danger right now. The main danger is imperialism. The main enemy is imperialism. And I do think that Trump and these goon squads are part of the controlled opposition to make us continue to be part of this rural-urban divide. Working class unite and fight. Workers unite and fight. That is my position. Here we got, shout out to Max Sachs. Max the Sachs. If you're in the DC area, we have a branch of Students and Youth for New America. Email us at cna.beltway@gmail.com if you want to get involved. We're in the thick of it. Shout out to Max the Sachs in DC. If you're a young person, want to get Students and Youth for New America on your campus, go right for it. All right, Ewoks in Unhinged. Yeah, when he dropped cruise missiles in Syria, the liberal MSC was mad he didn't drop more. Exactly. I mean, I'm not going to go and say the Democrats are more imperialist or more interventionist. I don't think that's the case. But they are the more effective imperialist, and they have often attacked Trump from the right. There we go. The events in Washington have clearly shown the fascists are organized and prepared to mobilize. And I think that's true, but that is no reason to go out and support the Democrats. We have to be against the fascists, and we also have to continue our fight against the imperialists. I think some of the best things we can do, if you're a rural communist in a rural area like myself, go to your neighbors and tell them, yo, these fascists want to hurt my wife. You know, I'm from a mixed family. These people are not our friends. These people don't represent us. We're not fascists. We're hardworking rural workers. We're not the KKK. We ain't this bullshit. Maybe you prefer Trump over the Democrats, but that's not us. Don't join fascism. Anti-racist solidarity amongst rural workers is one of the best weapons against fascism that there is. And there we go from Ewoks Unhinged. Yeah, man, I'm mixed race, so I can see both sides of Canada. The immigrant struggle and the rural area struggle. We're all in the same boat at the end of the day, and elites want to divide us. Here's an interesting, Rochester Swift. Younger people in rural areas is not the problem. Even the Trump voters under 40 are generally middle of the road politically. I think we're having them come around. Some of that guy's other comments I'm not going to put up, but it's nice to have you with us here, Rochester Swift. Okay, this one's a pretty funny one. And here's Ewoks on Hinge. You are on fire tonight. Yeah, man, we need to show them a better option. They can be down with the struggle and move in the right direction. A lot of other causes. They can go arm in arm with fellow comrades. Exactly. We need to be organizing as many people as possible on the class issue. We want health care. We want education. We want higher pay. Our urban and rural workers want this. We need to unite these groups. And you don't need to be pushing all these social issues when you go to organize and build workers' power. It's based off of those class contradictions. Here we go. Here we go. Quindy, good friend of the show. Dust James. After today's events, prepare for a massive uptick in censorship against everyone outside of the bounds of liberalism. They won't let a good crisis go to waste. And exactly, I think this is more of the controlled opposition. Trump and the fascist goon squads are controlled opposition to get people to run back and support the Democrats. And we don't need to be doing that. We need to organize the working class and oppressed nations against the imperialists. All right. Here's a good one. I don't know if it's going to show the whole thing. No, it just shows part of it. Lucas T. Marshall. Is I think this might be a quote from Mamua Abu Jamal. The new name in the 21st century is imperialism, is really globalization. And when you think about that, you'll read about, when you study about that, globalization really means globalization of capital. You don't hear people talking about the globalization of labor, but you know working people all around the world have more in common with each other than they have with their own so-called leaders, the ruling class is of society. So people should globalize resistance, globalize, and that means that's good. I think that's right. And I'm constantly putting out stuff where they got rural folks and they got urban folks as well. They got American folks in general and people from oppressed nations in general hating Iran. You go out and talk about Iran, and be like, everybody, even folks in the hood think everybody in Iran's a terrorist. Rural folks think everybody in Iran's a terrorist. And I put stuff on my show. There was this one cooking guy that said Iranian people were some of the nicest people he's seen. And I always quote Ashada Shakur. Anybody that lets them tell them who their enemy is a fool. Our enemy is not the people of the oppressed nations in Iran or Russia or China. Our enemies are the monopoly capitalists right here, destroying our environment, keeping our wages down, trying to get us divided and fighting amongst each other while they run all the way to the bank. Let's go to Trump's a populist demigod. Yeah, that's true. I mean, he hasn't done it. He keeps saying he's gonna, like, right when he started coming into office, he said he was in favor of child care. He said he wasn't gonna go as much wars. He said he was gonna invest in infrastructure. He didn't do any of that. It seems like all these people promise wonderful things, and the only thing that gets done when they get into power is whatever benefits the imperialists, Republican, Democrat alike. Here's one from Canaan. American workers live very good. And I recommend people go back and watch my show. Uh, was it Hill? I don't remember which one it was. Oh, go back and watch my show. AOC is an imperialist sheepdog. I talk about the labor aristocracy, which exists in the United States, but I also talk about how the labor aristocracy is dwindling. I also talk about revolutionary vision and how socialism would improve the lives of 99% of the people, even in the United States. And we should be not trying to exclude people from working towards socialism, but trying as many people towards the cause of socialism as possible. I have a lot of respect for the nationalists who think that they should be organizing in oppressed nations. I'm cool with that. If that's your focus, more power to you. It's people in oppressed nations and here that are leading the way. It's the global South that's leading the way. That workers that genuinely are interested in going against imperialism and building the new future of socialism, that's who we're going to take leadership for one. They're the ones leading the way. I'm not against that. I don't think we should write off any working people, large portions of working people that are potential allies. I don't think we should go along with the divide and conquer. I think we should unite as many working folks as possible, unite the working folks with people of the oppressed nations, build as much power as workers. As Lenin said, workers and oppressed peoples unite against the imperialist system. There it is. There's no correct response to COVID inside the monopoly capitalist system. They don't have the power to do that. We need a socialist system for our environment, for crises, for COVID. We need a socialist system. Who's the author of They? I'm not sure what that book is. Yes, Joey, I do think this will lead to more censorship. You're wrong about this. Communism is something really in the future. There is socialism that is happening today. The planned economy of China is revitalizing rural areas. The Bolivarian revolutions are maintaining themselves against imperialism, giving homes to millions of people. These are anti-imperialist socialist systems. I would say that even Iran, with its system of Islam, not capitalism, has escaped the profit motive. They've run out of necessity, the fight against imperialism. They're an anti-imperialist country. They have designed economic systems that escape the rules of profit for the benefit of that country. I think if you escape the rules of profits, you're working towards socialism, regardless of what you tell yourself. Now, if you're firmly hooked to the imperialist bloc, you're not socialist. That is, the so-called social dems are not socialist. But I would say that the anti-imperialist countries have largely adopted socialism to fight against the imperialist system. And that's how scientific socialism works. I mean, I'll go into it again. You start with a thesis, contradictions within that class, oppressed nations. They develop an antithesis, the anti-imperialist bloc, forms a new synthesis socialism. It's a very similar situation in Britain, where some leftists are in favor of remaining in the imperialist bloc of the UK to seek protection from bankers in Brussels. Okay, that's interesting. I know we had Comrade Reese on here, and he took a positive anti-imperialist position against the European Union. Lots of comments, comrades. I got to go to work pretty soon. I think I'll catch up with some minor comments. This is actually the first. I love this. This is one of the first times or I'm unable to get to all the comments. uh, I'll address a few comments sporadically, and I'll end it. How should socialists spread ideology through? Look at what David Fox is doing. Comrade David Fox is fighting for workers' power, building the labor movement, and using it as a school for the revolution. That's how we do it. We go out in the community. We listen to the working class in our community, rural, urban, don't matter where the hell we're at, working people, exploited people, oppressed nations. We go out in our communities. We see what is the most pressing issue in our communities. We work within the mass movement to fight for real gains. And while we're working in the mass movement, we're building the vanguard. We're building revolutionary ideology. I mean, maybe it's not time for a vanguard at this point. When we're strong enough, we can get a vanguard. We have mass of the people behind us. Maybe party builder organizations like Center for Political Innovation, that's promoting revolutionary ideology. Community groups like Telehagwire and the Chicano Nation are spreading ideology. I think we can do it online, but we also need to be in the streets. We also need to, more importantly, get out of these little bubbles, these little protest bubbles, and get to the masses of people. Get from the masses to the masses. You are of the masses. What are your roots? Understand your culture, understand your roots, and get to the people around you, applying to their better sentiments, applying to their better sentiments, and appealing to class contradictions, the material contradictions. It's a good one. Viva Fidel. See how many more we got. Darth Buddha. We need to find common ground, find the correct words to reach all groups. And I don't think there's one, I'm be clear, I don't think there's one way of getting to people. I think sometimes you need different types of groups to getting to different people. Sometimes you need different messages to get to different people. And that's what's going to happen. Even a decentralized zeitgeist change, these contradictions are going to bring about a host of groups, the superstructure of the groups, that are reflective of the contradictions in the base, that are going to have different ways to talking to all these different demographics that will eventually push into socialism. And I mean, if you look at the ruling class, they own the Republican. They own the Democrats. They own so many groups that are seemingly contradictory, but work towards the benefit of the capitalist. Why can't we, as the working class, the revolutionary, as oppressed nations, we can work through all different viewpoints and strategies and ways of talking to people, but all of those things are pushing for workers' power, or pushing for oppressed nations to have power, and teaching revolutionary socialism and revolutionary anti-imperialist ideology. There's no one way of going about it. It's going to be several groups from doing several different positions, talking in various ways to various sectors to get as much workers' power as possible. All right, thoughts on organizing a workers' takeover of the Green Party. That's interesting. I'm a supporter of Howie. I really respect Howie Hawkins and Angela Walker. Howie Hawkins, a construction worker, Angela Walker, a fellow driver. These are working class politicians just like myself. And you can watch their streams. They do streams on the Green Party's YouTube and Facebook. And I recommend getting involved. They're a small organization. I think people with socialist, revolutionary socialist understanding, I would say the Green Party is probably a better vehicle than the DSA at this point, because the DSA is backing these imperialist sheepdogs. The Green Party is not doing that. The Green Party has some issues with Russiagate. The Green Party has some issues with backing the Kurds against Syria, some stuff like that. But they're firmly against all the military bases. They're firmly against this interventionism. My friend and comrade Matt Cedillo was interviewed by Howie Hawkins and Angela Walker, and Howie Hawkins, in their platform, they had to respect the Treaty of Guadalupe, which is a huge treaty and issue for the Chicano nation. That was what the Green Party was in support of. So, I mean, I think revolutionary people getting in the Green Party and using that to get contacts, or even running through those political campaigns, is a good strategy. And I think Angela Walker, no nonsense, working class, on the ground, is positive activism. I think that is one of the outlets for revolutionaries to take. I'll address a few people I haven't come across yet. Here we go. Joseph V. The rural poor should never be the enemy of socialists. The corporate Dems want this as the age-old imperialist tactic, divide and conquer. Absolutely, absolutely. And QD. Dust James, can I clip some of your best speeches in the future? Yes. Quindy D and everybody else, and I already told Reese this, anybody who wants to clip any of the material I have posted on my channel and use it for the promotion of pro-worker, workers' power, and anti-imperialist causes, please go right ahead. So in summation, I think that's all the comments. In summation, don't let these fascist goon squads up in D.C. that they have allowed to take over the Capitol momentarily, don't let them put you into fear against hating all rural folks or hating everybody that voted for Trump. Don't do that. And don't let these rural goon squads convince you that you need to get fast behind the imperialist Democratic Party. You don't need to be doing that. What we need is workers united. Workers and oppressed peoples unite. Unite, build workers' power, and the struggle for workers' power builds schools for revolutionary ideology. And then with that revolutionary ideology and with that workers' power, we can build a new future for socialism. As always, all power to the people.